Hey everybody, this is Eric Brady with Seattle Sound Home Inspections. Just doing a project, late fall project. Today's really probably the last day for this project in our area due to weather issues. But this is a project that comes up during home inspections all the time, staining decks and fences. I recommend that you do it in early September, late August, before the rain set in and your fence or your deck has had all summer to dehydrate. Wood is actually like a sponge and it absorbs any kind of moisture or oil that is on it. And we want those pores in that sponge to be just as dry as we can get them before we add the oil, so that the wood uptakes that oil thoroughly. And then when it starts raining, the oil is there inside the matrix of the wood in order to keep the water out. So we stop wood rot. So this is what I'm doing. This is how I do it. This is, I like Olympic, but there are plenty of brands out there. You can really use anything, anything you want is fine. What you want is an oil, and you can see they've got sealant, they've got stain, and you know, this is in the brand up here, or the color, Woodland Oil Transparent. But all of these stains are essentially an oil. And you know, the particular color is up to you. That's the pigment they put in it. You can essentially have no pigment. You can see I've gone with a darker color. This fence is about 7 years old, and I did an Olympic natural cedar on it. And you can see in some areas here it started to lose its stain color, and that's an indication that the wood is weathering. Now I wanted this to get darker, and I was particularly interested in that because I just didn't like, I have quite an extension of fence here, and I really didn't want this to be you know, kind of obnoxiously bright. And you can see what it looks like here. And so the procedure for this is you get the 1 gallon containers here. I do not recommend the 5 gallon containers. Why? Because the 5 gallon containers settle out, and in the 1 gallon container you can shake that up by hand and get those chunks of typically pigment that have settled out to disperse, and then they're also just a lot easier to handle. So it's worth the additional cost. Different equipment you need: can opener or a flathead screwdriver. I like to have gloves because this stuff is oily, and you need some shop towels or paper towels. I got a funnel because you need to pour this bucket in that container, and having a funnel makes that process a lot less messy, and you have a lot less wasted oil. Now I have about 238 feet of fencing here, and by my estimations I'm going to go through 16 or 18 gallons of this material. So this is not cheap. This is going to be a $400 or $500 project, but it's something you really only need to do every 5 to 10 years. So I get this is an Ace branded one, but you can get this anywhere. This is called a pump up sprayer. You might know it as a weed application for your lawn, so you can get it in the lawn and garden area. This is a one-time use, so when you're done with this project, you're going to throw this away because the oils are going to set up in there, and unless you're doing this, you know, every year or every, you know, week or something, you're not there's really no point in saving this. This is a $9 to, you know, if you get a really fancy one, $20 tool, so I look at it as expendable. So you just pump it up and you spray it on. Unfortunately, because I'm doing this with my phone, I can't do it one-handed, but you can kind of see the process here. On this is called a picture box fence. So spraying each side obviously is important because you want to seal both sides of each piece of wood. You also want to get the fourth sides, the third and fourth sides. So the way I do this is I just spray down on the face board, and then I do the next one adjacent to it, and you can see there's quite a bit of overspray here. And then I come down and I do a narrow strip getting this side and getting the backboard as well. And then I will go to the other side and repeat the process. So different things to consider. Again, we want the fence dry, so I've had my irrigation system off here for about 2 weeks. Just, you know, we don't spray the fence intentionally, but some sections of the fence get fairly wet. So We want the wood as dry as possible. You want the fence clean. I went along and I edged, and then I had my son come along with a broom and just broom the bottom of it off to make sure there weren't any grass blades. Anything you spray on the fence with the oil is pretty much going to stay there forever. You want to get to the fence before it really gets a lot of wood rot. You can see some areas I have some lichens starting. This level of lichen I'm okay with, but it is starting to accelerate, so it is definitely time. Ideally, maybe I would have done this a year or two ago. If you want to pressure wash the fence before you do this, that is okay. But generally, I would recommend, if you're going to go through that process, that you do have a long-term plan. So you do the pressure washing in the spring, you allow the fence to dry out as much as absolutely possible all summer long, because when you do pressure washing, you're literally injecting water into the pores of the wood, and that then this time of year, at the very end of summer, first day of fall, approximately, you stain it. When you're using a pressure washer on the fence, you really got to maintain distance, or you will leave marks on the fence. So you want to carefully consider whether or not you're going to pressure wash. I have chosen not to pressure wash most of my fence. Under these trees here, I do have some algae buildup, and I'm okay with that. I'm going to see how the stuff goes down. If it isn't absorbing the way I want it to absorb on a test patch, I will hold off on that section. That portion of the fence is actually quite a bit newer because it's protected from the sun and the rain by these trees. So I will pressure wash in the spring, and then I will spray it a year from now. So it's kind of long-term planning on this stuff, but you know, if you do it every 5 to 10 years, really your fence will outlast your ownership of the home, and that's a good thing, as long as you have something that you can work with. Now, if your fence is already rotting, we've called it in your inspection, it's already rotted. So is it worth saving? It just depends. If the rails and the posts are structurally intact, there's no wood rot here, and the big one is the posts at the bottom. If when you push on the post it doesn't move, then it's probably worth saving. And if, say, you're just getting a little bit of wood rot at the top, you know, I will probably oil a deck longer than it probably needs to, just because the cost and time and expense, difficulty of redoing a deck is not really worth it to me. So if I can salvage something and maintain it, I will do that. But if I have longer term plans for like a Trex deck or something like that, then maybe I'll let it go, and within 2 or 3 years I will throw down new decking. So anyways, that's how you do it. If you have any questions with staining or home inspection types of items, or you need a home inspection, feel free to give me a call. Thanks. Bye.